Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So I got a message, and I'm going to answer it. I'm going to go ahead and warn everybody else now that this is going to be a long video, and it's going to be a dark video. There's definitely not my normal video, but the question seemed very sincere, and so we're just going to go with it from there. Just understand that this may not be a topic a lot of people are comfortable with. So the message, Bo, because of what happened at the synagogue, I've decided to purchase a gun. I've gotten advice from my friends, and they have told me to buy either a revolver or a shotgun. Do you agree with this advice? If not, why? Okay. You were told that because you're a woman. You were told that because you are a woman. There is a lot of sexism in the gun crowd. Now, don't go yell at your friends. This is extremely common advice. Most people don't even understand the subtext of what's being said with that advice. Okay, so a revolver. A revolver doesn't have a safety. Now, you didn't put it in your message, but let me tell you what you probably heard. So you want to get a revolver because it doesn't jam. It's very easy to use, and it's point and shoot. See, those sound like great qualities. But the subtext of that is, A, you don't have to train because it's easy to use and it's point and shoot. You will train because if you're going to purchase a firearm, you need to. You need to really understand what you're dealing with. The subtext of that, though, easy to use means it doesn't have a safety. And well, little lady, that's because you're panicky and emotional and you'll forget to flip a switch. That's where it comes from. That's where that advice comes from. Now, whoever told you that probably doesn't know that, but that's really where that advice began. Shotgun. You probably heard something like, see, when you rack that shotgun, the intruder will hear that and run away. Maybe. Maybe. Shotgun being racked is a very distinctive sound, and it has been known to make people vacate their bowels and the premises. It will definitely trigger fight, flight, or freeze. What if it doesn't trigger flight? Your main advantage when dealing with an intruder in your home is that you know the layout. You can surprise them. When you rack that shotgun in an attempt to scare them, you've given away your position. That's not what you want to do. A shotgun, a firearm of any kind, is not meant to scare somebody. It is meant to kill somebody. If you are not comfortable with that, do not purchase a firearm. So, how should a woman choose a firearm? Same way a man should. Same way a man should. There is not a firearm in production, in modern production, that a man can handle that a woman can't. Well, that doesn't really tell you anything, though, does it? What are you going to do with it? I actually went to your profile to kind of guess and get a read on you. You've got your profile locked down pretty tight. Good for you. I mean, I couldn't really find out anything about you other than your name, which is impressive. If you live in a rural area, you probably want a rifle. If you live in an apartment, you probably want a pistol. You know, your terrain, what your environment is going to dictate what kind of firearm you need. I don't know, you know, and the easiest way I've found to relate this to women, as I rail about people being sexist, if this comes off that way, I apologize in advance. Stilettos, flats, pumps, Crocs, those little strappy sandals. They all have different roles, right? All have different purposes, designed with something specific in mind. Firearms are the same way. They are the same way. Each one is designed with a specific purpose in mind. Your purpose, based on what you've said, is to kill a person. That's what you're worried about. That's why you're getting it. You're worried about political violence. And I feel for you. I do. I don't think you're crazy. I wish you were. I wish the honest advice I could give you would be that you don't need one. You know, good for you. You're concerned and you're willing to accept responsibility for your own safety. That's the reason I'm making this video. So then what? You figured out the role. Now there's a whole bunch of them out there. You can't pick one by walking into a gun store and just holding it. You need to fire one. Now some gun stores will allow you to take rent one and go to the range that they have there, buy the ammo there and shoot it. I'm being a little bit presumptuous here based on your last name and the reason you want this. There's probably somebody in your circle or at your religious institution that is, well, let's just say he might say never again a lot. Find that guy, okay? I guarantee you one. There's one at your synagogue, all right? Find him. He probably has a whole variety of firearms that he would be more than willing to let you sample, take to the range and shoot, figure out what you like. You know, without getting too far into it, a weapon is an extension of yourself. You need to find one that fits you. You're not going to be able to pick one by reading about them. You're going to have to shoot them. And that guy, and I assure you he exists, that guy probably see it as his duty to help you in this regard. So once you have decided on your firearm and you've purchased it, you're never going to go back to one of those ranges like that again. You're never going to go back to a range that says you can fire one shot every 2 seconds. You must be standing there like this. You know, you're not going to do that because you're going to train like you fight. You're going to train to kill, not poke holes in paper. If you're going to buy a firearm for the purposes that you've kind of expressed, you need to be prepared to kill. That is what that's what you're saying. So you're going to find somebody that's got some property and you're going to go out there. Now there may be a range in your area, depending on where you live, that has a functioning kill house, that has the ability to double tap and all this stuff. Most ranges don't allow it because of the liability. But you're going to be careful, and either you're going to go to one of those ranges that has those facilities and actually allows you to train, or you're going to find some property and you're going to go out and you're going to shoot somewhere safely. And you're going to learn how to shoot from a crouching position, laying down, walking forward, walking backward. You're going to learn how to pull it out of your purse or wherever you plan on keeping it. I wouldn't suggest it there, actually. There's a bunch of stuff that can get in your way. If you're going to carry, you'll figure it out. But understand, you're just going to have to try it out. Find out what's right for you. One of the big things in the gun crowd is that everybody's got an ego. And everybody thinks their way is right. It's not. It's not. It may be right for them. But that doesn't mean it's going to be right for you. So, you're going to train. You're going to learn how to maintain that weapon. You're going to take it apart, put it back together. You're going to clean it. You're going to learn about it. Otherwise, don't get one. You're going to learn how to shoot safely. And then, once you've established all of that, then you're going to really start training. When you go to shoot, don't take silhouettes. Take paper plates. You're going to shoot at paper plates. Because a silhouette, it's got the score on it, right? And it looks like a person. It causes people to kind of succumb to the close enough syndrome. Well, I got one round here, one round here, one round over here. Well, that'll put somebody down. No. If you're doing this, you're in a fight for your life. It'll probably work, isn't good enough. So you're going to get a paper plate because that's about the size of the kill area on a human chest and about the size of a human head. And when you can put a magazine into that, you're on the right track. One of the reasons you don't want to go to a normal range is because putting, they want you to take that break. They don't want rapid fire. because of the liability. In real life, when you're actually engaging somebody, anybody worth shooting once is worth shooting twice. Anytime you pull that trigger and it's aimed at a person, you're pulling it twice. Now, again, in the gun crowd, some advice you're going to hear people talk about groupings. And that's how quickly or how closely they can put the bullets together. And the tighter, the better. That's true if you're talking about paper and you're in a tournament. In real life, you want about 2-3 inches separating your rounds. Because when a bullet hits, it creates a wound channel, but it also kills tissue around the wound. There's no sense in shooting the same tissue twice. So you're going to want them separated a little bit. But still within that paper plate area. Now every ear doctor in the world is going to send me hate mail for this, but I would at least once fire without ear protection, because in real life you may not have it and you don't want to be surprised. I can tell you from personal experience, first time I fired without ear protection on, I was not ready for it. It can be disorienting, especially if you're in a closed space. It is very loud and it can actually be painful. You need to be prepared for that. It's not something I would recommend doing a lot because you will suffer hearing loss. But you don't want the first time you experience that to be with somebody shooting at you. You want to be prepared for all of this up front. So now we've covered the basics of training, and there's a lot more to it. And as you start shooting, you'll pick up more. You'll pick up more little things that you're going to want to do and learn how to do, and that's part of it. Purchasing a firearm, going to the range once and throwing it in a box is one thing. Actually learning how to fight and be prepared for the type of political violence you're talking about is something entirely different. It's a journey. It's not an event. So then the question becomes, how do you win a firefight? You need 3 things. You need speed, surprise, and violence of action. Speed, you're going to get through your training. You're going to be able to do everything you need to do. Change magazines, you're going to practice that. You're going to practice pulling it out. You're going to practice all of this, and you're going to get quick. And then on a higher level than that, once you've decided to act, you make the decision, you're going to act, you're going to engage. At that point, you got to do it quickly. Surprise, exactly what it sounds like. On TV, I got a gun, freeze. No. And not unless you're required to by the laws in your area. You don't do that. There's no reason to. When you're talking about somebody walking into a synagogue, and that's the type of person you're worried about engaging, don't play fair. Play as dirty as you are legally allowed to. If you can shoot him in the back, do it. This type of thing, you're talking about combat. There's no honor in combat. There's no playing fair. You win or you die. And violence of action. Violence of action is the last thing. And that means that once you have engaged, you bring down as much firepower onto that poor SOB as you can, as quickly as you can. You shock him. You make it to where it's just terrifying for the last few minutes of his existence. Seconds, hopefully. Pretty dark, right? That's the reality. That is the reality of what you're talking about. And I'm not trying to dissuade you from doing it. I think it's a good thing. If you want to prepare and you want to protect yourself and you're going to accept that responsibility, it is fantastic. It's great. But you can't go into it blind. You can't go into it blind. You have to understand what you're actually doing. So, what about a home intruder? You know, what are you going to do? You going to rush up and meet him? No. It's one of the things, it's ingrained in men and women. And I think it goes back to cavemen days. You know, the men would rush forward and meet the wolves at the door, literally. Meet the predator at the door. And the women would put the kids behind them. You still see this today. Here's the thing. Bullets come out, and they travel a great distance. There is never a reason to leave cover to engage somebody in the open. You don't do it. You stay protected. You stay behind something. Now, as far as kids, you know, there's that instinct. You put you between yourself and the children, and it makes sense on an emotional level. On a logical level, if you're going to be shooting at somebody, odds are they're going to be shooting back. What if they miss you? What's behind you? You put those kids in a bathroom and a bathtub, out of sight, out of the line of fire. And you've got time to do that because you're not going to worry about material possessions in the event of an intruder in your home. You're going to lock down human life. You're going to protect life, and that is it. If somebody's coming into your house to steal TVs or whatever, you're waiting at the hallway to the bedrooms. You're not going out there to meet them. A TV isn't worth dying over. Only protect human life. Only protect what matters. You know, the layout of your home and the layout of anywhere. If you know it and the person attacking doesn't, if the opposition doesn't know the layout, you can win easily because you can use speed, surprise, and violence of action. And you can use that layout. You want to catch them in what's called a fatal funnel. A fatal funnel. It's exactly what it sounds like. A hallway with no side doors. You wait till they're halfway in it. And that's when you open fire. They can't go to the sides. They can't move forward or backward without meeting your violence of action. And that's what you're going to want to do. Because again, you're trying to kill. That's what you're setting out to do. Never forget that. Now, everybody's going to have recommendations. My recommendation is you get a firearm that is whatever class you decide, whatever role it is that you've decided to fill. You get a firearm that was used by military or one based on a design that was used by the military. And the reason for that is they're simple. Most militaries all over the world, they accept just about anybody. So the firearms have to be very easy to use. You know, I've said it before, the M16 was designed to be used by the dumbest 17-year-old kid you know. That's what you want. You want something easy to use, easy to maintain, and very reliable. That's what military firearms are. Other than that, I mean, I wish you luck. I wish you luck. I really wish we didn't live in a world where a woman who appears to be in her early 20s is worried about getting gunned down while she's worshiping. But it's the world we live in. You're worried about political violence, and it's on the rise. So I really do wish I could give you different advice. I wish I could say, you don't need to do this. I really do, but I can't. The best advice I can give you is to, you've made the decision. Do it right. Do it right. Learn the weapon. Never forget that it is to kill. Nothing else. You're not going to do anything else with it than kill. And, yeah. So there's a very atypical video from me. Anyway, a whole bunch of thoughts there. Y'all have a good night.